Well, hey there everyone, we're towards the end of the month and you know what that means. It is time for a legendary hero prediction video, and we don't really have much to go on this time because IS has kind of just thrown a wrench in our pattern that we kind of thought we knew about, but if you saw last month's kind of recap, or I guess it was earlier this month that I posted it, we were kind of tracking what was happening to the legendary banner so far, and you can see on the screen down there, that's what we have right now. That is including Erica. Erica got added in October. So what I've done this time around is I've looked at a lot of the data, and I've made some safe predictions, I think, based on some of the assumptions that I had to make to just kind of narrow it down somehow. So I guess I'll start by saying how I narrowed it down. So first, what I did is I went through and looked at all the legendary heroes in order. So for example, we got Fjorm in November, Gunthra in December, that was in 2017, mind you. Ike was our first legendary hero of 2018 in January. Ephraim came in February. Robin showed up in March. Lynn was in April. Ryoma was in May. Hector was in June. Lucina in July. Marth in August. Tiki, September. And then obviously Erica last month in October. And what I did is I went through and I kind of looked at everything. More often than not, I saw everything kind of fitting into a pattern. But there were some things that at this point are now impossible to happen. So for example, the weapon, or the movement type, sorry, the movement type that we have right now, it's impossible to have an even distribution of 4 for all of that. So cavalry, infantry, flyers, and then armor units. We've got 2 armors, 2 flyers. I'm looking off at my screen here because I have notes. 5 infantry and 3 cavalry. So what that means essentially is once something went over 4, that being infantry, we weren't possibly going to have a 4-4-4-4 split. Obviously, everything else kind of works except weapon type. So weapon type, we have a bunch of different things all over the place. Obviously, you know, we have like 1 tome, we've got 2 dragons. There's no possible way, given the number of weapon types that we have, that we could possibly have an even split in a grid of 16. So that rule doesn't really matter. The movement type doesn't really matter. So weapon and movement types, they don't matter. We can get pretty much anything in that. What is pretty much confined here is the fact that we're going to be getting 1 hero with 1 blessing per bonus. So for example, we are going to get an attack bonus with a water blessing. That would be Erica. Everything is split into that grid there, so we're missing a water blessing with a res bonus. We're missing a wind blessing with a defense bonus. We're missing the earth blessing with the res bonus, and the fire blessing with the speed bonus. So we will be getting those. That is a given. They can't break that grid because obviously it wouldn't fit into the grid, and they wouldn't have used this grid in the first place if they were planning on not doing that. So that is a rule that we're going to be having. Now granted, those blessings and bonuses, they can be whatever weapon and movement type they want to be. They can even technically be whatever color they want to be. There's no real rhyme or reason as to what color type the unit is. As you can see in the Earth, for example, we have a pretty clear split of, you know, red, colorless, blue. So, you know, the res bonus could be a green type unit. We don't know. Could be. But that whole theory is kind of just thrown out of the loop because we have things like in the water blessing category, we have 2 sword units, 2 red units, that being Erica and Ryoma. And in the wind, you know, we have 2 green units, Gunthra and Lynn. So that necessarily not going to happen. I mean, we could see a 1-1-1-1 split for color unit types in the rest of the blessings that we have. save for the water and wind. But ultimately, you know, that doesn't really matter either. So that's not necessarily a rule that we have to really worry about as well. So what it basically boils down to is we're going to be getting one blessing and one bonus. Well, not one bonus, actually. The attack bonus is done. We're going to be getting one blessing apiece, and then we've got 2 res bonuses, a defense, and then a speed bonus left. That's all we really know. We have no inclination as to what color is missing from the legendary banner at this point, because as you can see, November is cleared out with Gunthra, Ryoma, Lucina, and then, of course, Robin, who is always there. So, for what that's worth, I think what's going to be happening is we're doubling up on heroes now. So we'll get a new legendary hero, and moving forward, the banners are all going to have multiple legendary heroes of the same color if the ones getting revealed are going to have additional colors. So if we never have another colorless legendary hero, we're never going to get doubles. We're just going to have Robins. So for what it's worth, the rest, pretty strong possibility. We only have 1 colorless, but we have 4 reds currently, 3 greens, and 4 blues. So we could get more colorless heroes. I don't know that that's going to happen. It could happen. That whole theory is still kind of a possibility. We could have a 4-4-4-4 split on the color type, but that means that we wouldn't be getting any blues or reds. And if you think about the really popular characters, units that in your head make a lot of sense, like Alm and Silica, Micaiah, Corrin, Xander to an extent, Roy, like these guys all make a lot of sense as legendary heroes, right? However, having them as a colorless unit specifically, or even a green to an extent, is very unlikely. It's super unlikely. So I don't think that IS even really cares about the color unit split. So when I made my decision, I didn't really think about that. The male-female pairing, that could be a thing, but there's no alternating pattern anymore that we're seeing, so that's kind of irrelevant. We just had a female legendary hero, Erica. We could have a male one. I don't know. We might not. We might. I don't know. But ultimately, the only thing that really boils down to is these game patterns, right? So we have 2 from Niffle, 1 from Fates, 2 from Blazing Blade, 2 from Awakening, 1 from the Radiant series, 2 from the Shadow Dragon / New Mystery of the Emblem / whatever other game Marth and Tiki were in, and then 2 from Sacred Stones now. And I mentioned this in the last video that I did for October when I put Erica as one of my predicted legendary heroes. And much like Sacred Stones, Fates kind of fits into this category where there are clear pairings, right? So I think it would be weird if we didn't have a Corrin or a Xander or something to kind of pair with that Ryoma. So that's why Corrin's on the list number 1. I feel like the game's pairing makes a lot of sense, and you know, we are missing 1 from Fates and Radiant. So again, Micaiah also on my list for a similar reason. Not only do they kind of come in these pairings, Radiant Dawn obviously had Micaiah and Ike both take a big piece of that storyline. They're sort of paralleled in some aspects, and you know, they have 2 separate storylines that eventually converge upon the 2 together. So I feel like not having Micaiah paired with that Ike would not make a lot of sense. And this goes without saying for everything. You know, Lynn and Hector pair together very nicely. Robin and Lucina pair together very nicely. Tiki and Marth pair together. Ephraim and Erica pair together. And then, of course, you have Fjorm and Gunthra, which may have been more a sign of the times type thing. But either way, you know, they're sisters. They were tragically intertwined, so obviously it felt right to pair them together. I don't see why they wouldn't continue the pairing trend. I don't know why they wouldn't do that. So that kind of brings me to the last 2 that I have. And these are not characters that I have not thought we'd have as legendary units before. And again, I'm making some pretty safe predictions, I think, for the most part. Alm and Silica. Obviously very popular characters. Obviously pair together very, very well. And also, there seems to be a game, if you remember the roster I just read down, there's a game that is distributed to North America and everywhere else. And that's where all of these legendary heroes have come from. They've come from Heroes, Fates, Blazing Blade, Awakening, Radiant, Shadow Dragon, and then Sacred Stones. But we haven't seen anything from Valentia. And, you know, say what you will about Binding Blade, right? We're finally getting a Binding Blade banner next year. Early-ish next year. And but that game never got released in North America, so it didn't have, you know, that widespread distribution. And Valentia did. And it's also the most recent Fire Emblem game. So it would be extremely, extremely strange to not see a Valentian legendary hero. And it would make even less sense if it wasn't Alm and Silica. So those two are both on my list as well. So those are my 4 that I have paired here. I'm sure that they would fit within this realm. Micaiah and Erica both make a lot of sense to be like a res bonus unit. Same, you know, speed. I feel like Corrin might fit that pretty well. Defense, Alm might fit that category pretty decently. So, you know, overall, I feel like they're pretty safe picks. It would not make sense if we didn't get a legendary hero to this extent. Again, I don't know what they're gonna do with Corrin. I feel like pairing Ryoma and Xander together make a lot more sense than Ryoma and Corrin. But again, you know, that's not my call to make. I don't know. They treat Xander kind of differently, given that he's, you know, an individual unit, but then we've also had seasonal variants of him. So, I don't know. It kind of is what it is there. What I hope they don't do, right? Because if you know, like, what I hope they don't do is, you know, I hope they don't outbalance the game. So as we have these pairings, I hope they don't cater to more than one than the other. Like I said, I really want to see Valentia on this grid. I do. But we all know that the majority of banners and alts tend to side towards Fates and Awakening, and I really don't want I don't want to see them off-skew that, right? So they've off-skewed everything else, basically, except, you know, the games pairings, kind of, and I don't want to see them wreck that. As much as I'd like to see Ellawood, I'm fine just having Lyn and Hector from Blazing Blade, you know? I don't want to see an unbalanced distribution. Like, if we had nothing but Fates and Awakening characters in those last 4 slots, people would flip out. And on top of that, I don't know that showing Corrin this month would be great, given how the last banner was kind of received, the Adrift banner, which again, I don't necessarily fall into that camp, but people were not happy that we had more Fates alts. And even though, in my opinion, legendary heroes are kind of different, like, I know they're still alts, but they're kind of different to an extent. They're not just like a normal banner alt, but still, I don't want to see that balance shift. That would not be good. So that's kind of what that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with all of this. I don't know what weapons we're going to be seeing. Again, there's no rhyme or reason to that. Same with movement type. I genuinely don't know what we're going to be seeing. I've been preaching, you know, Blue Bow Alm for how long? But, you know, we're full up on blues, so it could be any color, honestly. I genuinely don't know. I genuinely don't know. But either way, those are the 4 I think we're going to be seeing, either Silica, Alm, Corrin, or Micaiah. I'm kind of taking a risk just throwing in a Valentian option, because they may not do that. But again, that is the one kind of consistent thing that we've seen so far, is those games pairings. And a couple of you guys have mentioned that in the comments before as well, so I feel like people are kind of keen on it. The other thing that I'll mention just super briefly is we did have Hrid gain some voice data in the last data mine. So Hrid's voice is in the game. He does not sound at all like I thought he would sound like, but he is in the game. And the reason why I don't have him pegged as a legendary hero, he didn't really do much, right? He didn't really contribute much to the story in general. There was a point during book 2 where he kind of led us on the right path, but overall that was pretty much it. He didn't really, send a message or do any big contributions. Like Gunthra, I feel like played a bigger part. She got burned alive, which is tragic, and Hrid was just kind of there. Similar kind of to Yulgur, so I don't know that we're going to be seeing legendary Hrid. However, I do think we're going to be getting him free. I think we're going to be getting him free either before or after Book 3 goes live. Right before or after. I think he'll be a claimable free unit, kind of the way that if you've been around long enough, you remember the meme about did you know you could get a free legendary Fjorm just by completing this chapter? Yeah. So I think we might be seeing something like that with Hrid. And the reason is, people aren't really talking about this too much, but Hel also got a slight data mine. Hel being the character that I guess Loki is now chasing down, and what's his name? Surtur was also conversing with in this last Xenologue. And Hel has its own music theme, and that was also data mined. And so I feel like those two pieces of data mined information, they kind of go together. So I think ultimately they're going to have a bigger impact in Book 3, and that's not really going to apply to what's happening right now. We know the 3.0 is coming up pretty soon, and if I were going to say Legendary Hrid is guaranteed because we finally have voice data for him, that might be one thing. But the fact that we got Hel's music theme in the same data mine batch, that seems more like a Book 3 thing to me. So I'm thinking Hrid's more important come Book 3, and that's kind of where that information is conglomerating. I don't think it has much to do with legendary hero information. I think Hrid is. It might be wishful thinking, but I think we're going to be getting a free Hrid for Book 3, and if they were waiting on stuff like that for when Book 3 launches, I don't think they would have had that music theme and Hrid's voice in the same kind of uncovering. You know what I mean? I think they would have just waited until 3.0 went live and then just put all that together, because we're not getting any other stories or chapters. Like, that was it. So for what it's worth, I don't know. I think ultimately what we're looking at right now is these 4 down here. And that's all I have. I'm tired and my voice hurts. I'm fighting off a cold because I visited family over Thanksgiving, and their child is always sick. And yeah. Kids have germs. But either way, I want to let you guys know, thank you so much. I think we have officially passed the 1,600 mark of subscribers on this channel, so thank you guys for that. I hope you had a fantastic holiday weekend. I don't know what's coming, but if you have thoughts, let me know what they are in the comments down below. Again, quick reminder, we do have 2 contests going on. One of them is ending pretty soon, a couple days out, and then, of course, the Book 3 celebration, which is going to be coming, I think, pretty soon as well. So if you want to get in on those contests, time is ticking, and the clock is against you at this point. So check those out in the description below. They're Gleam contests. If you've done them before, you know what these are. But as for me, that's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. Again, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Who do you think we're going to be seeing come trailer night for these legendary heroes that we're going to be having? And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.